You ready for the news?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. It's brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, EagleMortgageCompany.com. Their office is located at 114th and Davenport. That's just a shade south of 114th and Dodge. More importantly, they'll help you with home loans. You know, they always say buying a house is the biggest investment that the average person makes. And people tend to buy a handful of houses over the course of their lifetimes. So it's a pretty big deal. And if you're thinking about doing that, one of the first things you want to do is get a hold of Eagle Mortgage, talk with one of their mortgage brokers. Holly Schneiderwin has a team of outstanding people that work there. They'll listen to you. They'll hear what you're saying, what it is that you want to accomplish, the type of home that you want. Conventional loans, FHA loans, VA loans, they'll work with you on all of that. And the nice thing about using a mortgage broker is they can shop the market. So they're not just tied to one bank. They can get you the best deal and really coach you throughout the process. Well, we love working with them. We've had a relationship at Grow Omaha with Eagle Mortgage for about 7 years now, and believe in them and strongly recommend them. EagleMortgageCompany.com. Well, let's get into it, Trenton. The first news item, developers are planning to tear down two small office buildings at 144th and DuPont Court. Translated into English, that's just a few blocks north of West Center Road. So if you can picture the Harvey Oaks Shopping Center, it's just north of that or a little bit south of Heartwood Preserve. It's going to be called the Kingsley Apartments. So they're going to tear down these two smallish office buildings. They currently have like medical, dental uses in them.
Clark Stevens built them, and I didn't realize they were tearing down those buildings. I saw the drawings. I saw Larry Jobin at the meeting and all that, but these are like 5 stories, I believe.
Yeah, there'll be 5 stories, 200 apartment units total, and there'll actually be 2 buildings in a line, and they'll be connected by a multi-story parking structure. So it'll look pretty urban. Great infill project because, it's kind of interesting. Some of the suburban areas, like, when you and I were kids, Harvey Oaks was way out in West Omaha. When that development was built, Oakview Mall hadn't been started or anything like that. It was way out there. And now you're seeing, some of those 1980s era kind of underwhelming office buildings be replaced by something that's a lot more valuable. And what's interesting behind these two little buildings, and I know some of you can exactly picture what we're talking about, and some of you are probably thinking, I can't picture it because they're kind of nondescript. Right. But behind these buildings, the land goes back kind of in a long, narrow strip quite a ways toward the west. There's more room back there than you might think when you just pass by.
I believe the neighbors are objecting to the height and the scope of the project.
I get it, but I always have to laugh when people who live in neighborhoods think that they have the right to demand what someone does on privately held property that is located along a busy street like 144th Street. I'm like, it's just sometimes if you don't own the property, you don't get to control what goes there. And this is property that is really close to 144th and West Center Road.
If it's zoned, if it's buildable, chances are someday someone will build on it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, what was it recently? Last year, the Costco project at 180th and Maple, people were complaining because they wouldn't see green anymore. Well, in that case, you better buy the land if you want to keep it green. Otherwise, the reason people own it is to make money off from that land.
I remember L Street Marketplace all the way from 120th to 132nd. It was over 100 acres, and it was someone's objection was when they were little, they saw a hot air balloon land on it, and couldn't imagine it ever getting developed.
So because of that, we should leave it a grassy lawn forever. Yeah, it absolutely blows my mind, some of the things that people will say in front of the planning board when trying to convince local government to not allow a private property owner to do something legal with their property. So moving right along, The Collective is a new co-working space planning to open soon in Regency Landing. That's the 11-acre redevelopment project that is directly northeast of I-680 and Pacific Street. A lot of stuff has been happening there lately. We've talked about it. That's where Blue Sky Patio and Pickleball has opened recently. And Early Bird went in there Twisted Cork reopened after renovations. There was once a hotel there called the Regency Lodge. That part of the development is yet to be developed. But in the existing building that they saved and renovated, this co-working space is going to be just under 10,000 square feet. And it's going to be like a lot of co-working spaces where you have the furnished office and some on-site amenities. And co-working, Trenton, appears to be really gaining a lot of steam. It makes a lot of sense, especially in the post-pandemic world where you have so many people that have struck out on their own, doing small businesses. They don't want a lot of office space, but they at least want a place.
Yeah, and interestingly, and I was talking to one of the largest, and it's there's a parent company, but Regis. We all have heard Regis, and
huge,
and they're probably the world's largest, and what they do now is come in. They don't just lease space and then sublease it or whatever. What they do now is they go to the owner of the building and create a partnership, and actually they run it, and then they share the profits with the landlord.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
With the owner of the building. It's a very unique. I don't fully understand it, but I'm sure there's agreement on who pays for the improvements and that group and everything. And obviously they have expertise in charging for staplers and upcharging for all these different things. And it all depends on what type of space you want. But I'm seeing it. I'm leasing office space right now, which I don't see that slowing down. But then I have some companies that are saying all of our employees are working from home and we don't need office space anymore. There's a dichotomy on I don't know who's right at this juncture.
Well, we don't know who's right, but I can tell you this, office vacancies not bad. I mean, if you look at most of the reports, I look at the reports that come out from all of the real estate companies, from the data services. From what I can tell, it looks like office vacancy in Omaha is 10% or less.
But I call it shadow space, but I don't know what the correct term is or what the industry term is.
Sublease space?
No, it might be sublease space, but there's a lot of companies that are paying for space, but they're not in their space.
They're not really using it.
And they're not even have it up for sublease. So I wonder how those reports account for that, because
they don't, because it's leased.
Their people might come back. I was talking to one guy who has 8,000 feet, and he was saying that they try to come back on 2 days a week or 3 days a week. They'll come back for meetings, and if they have meetings, they'll come back. And interestingly, so you have upper management, and then you have the workers, the staff that are cube dwellers or office dwellers. And what he said was, after a long time out of the office, when they started coming back, they did this for several weeks, and he was concerned that the rank and file would have beefs with upper management. What he found was they were bickering among each other. That they're not used to they communicate over their Teams or whatever it is they do on the computers. They're not used to being in the same area, or someone's playing music or someone's doing whatever. And he was so surprised that what once before COVID was everybody kind of got along, everybody kind of knew their place, and they're used to 5 days a week at the office. Now they do everything to get out of the office, and when they're together, it's like a socialization and interpersonal skills. A lot of that is lost.
I personally can't relate to it. The 3 months that we were forced to be out of our office during the shutdown were 3 of the longest months of my life. I hated not going to an office, so I can't relate to it. But a very sizable percentage of the workforce would happily work from home every day. The problem is, if you're never in the office, and I hate to say this because it makes a lot of people mad, it just doesn't work. It's so hard to onboard new talent if you're not physically together. It's hard to develop leaders. It's hard to create a real strong culture if you're never physically in the same room together.
Well, it's a watered down version of dating now. It's people talk about how dating over the internet and everything is they get together and it's like a job interview. They don't know how to interact with each other in person.
Fill out an application and show your and fill out the I-9 form before we go on a date.
And it's so easy to go to the next one.
Well, the collective, we just talked about that. Next item is the Nebraska Department of Economic Development has opened a satellite office in the Metropolitan Community College campus near 30th and Q Street in South Omaha. So there is going to be so much development coming to South Omaha that the Nebraska Department of Economic Development is thinking, hey, we need to have a branch office down there. And a part of that is going to be incredible infusion of millions of dollars of ARPA funds, some of which we'll talk about a little more in the next segment with some big plans on the South 24th Street corridor. But I think that's a good sign for growth and development that people anticipate in South O with the Nebraska DED putting an office there. Concordia Lutheran Schools of Omaha plans to merge its elementary location with its junior-senior high school later this year. Construction is expected to begin still this spring on a $15 million addition to the existing high school building. It's just northwest of 156th and Fort Street. Completion is scheduled for June of 2024. The elementary school is currently located at a church near 90th and Blondo. The city of Council Bluffs is reconstructing the South Expressway between Interstate 80 and 19th Avenue. That's about maybe halfway between I-80 and downtown Council Bluffs. Construction is going to begin on Monday, expected to begin expected to begin on Monday and expected to be completed by late fall. A needed project. You know, Council Bluffs, state of Iowa Department of Transportation has spent incredible amounts of money on the Council Bluffs freeway system, which is mind-bogglingly awesome, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, you got to pay attention now.
It's so cool, though.
We're so used to getting off at different places and getting on, and so you really got to watch the sign. You know,
the Omaha, the Omaha side of the Metro freeway system carries a lot more traffic. But what the Iowa Department of Transportation has built for the Council Bluffs side of the freeway system,
now.
It blows your mind. It looks like those interchanges look like something you see in Dallas, Fort Worth, and it's just so efficient the way they've designed it. And right now they're just wrapping up the I-480, I-29. Well, not just wrapping it up, it probably still has a lot of this year to go. But the I-29, I-480 just east of downtown Omaha is an incredibly cool interchange, and it's going to handle massive amounts of traffic. So kudos to Council Bluffs and IDOT for everything going on in that area. It wasn't
too bad of a winter for construction either.
Yeah, that helped quite a bit too. The downtown branch of the library is going to be delayed until May. It was going to open in March, but these things a lot of times take longer than you think. This is the 14th and Jones location. So instead of March, it looks like a May opening date. But if you drive by, the outside's looking pretty cool. Signage is up. It's going to be a nice addition to that far southwest part of the old Market District.
You love the Steelhouse, too. Have you driven by that?
Oh, my gosh. It looks so cool. And that's getting, within a couple months of opening. So many exciting things happening in the area.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.